Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm back with another very interesting question. So this was asked in American Express interview and one of my subscriber has sent me over the email. The question name is page recommendations and it says you are given two tables, friends and likes. You need to give page recommendations to social media users based on the pages that have been liked by their friends but are not yet liked by them. Right? So let me take you to the SQL server and explain the problem with the data. So you have two tables, friends. In friends table you have user ID and the friend ID. So for example, for user ID 1 there are three friends, right? And for user ID 4 there are two friends and so on. There are four friends, four users, right? Now there is another table likes which tells you that which user has like which page, right? This user ID can come from user ID column or it can come from the friend ID column, right? It is ultimately the ID and the page liked by that ID. Okay, so now we need to find those users for which and the corresponding page IDs, right? User IDs and page IDs of the pages liked by their friend but not liked by user itself. Okay, so let's understand with one example. So let's take example of user ID 1. So this user ID 1 has three friends. Let's see which pages are liked by his friends or her friends, right? So 234, 234 have liked which pages? A, B, C, right? Let's write it down. So ideally we can recommend page A, B and C, right? Because this user has the friend of this users have liked these pages, so maybe we can give this recommendation to user ID 1. But we also need to check this user should not have liked these pages already, because if it has already liked, then it doesn't make sense to give recommendation. So let's see user ID 1 has liked which pages. So user ID 1 has liked ABC again, right? If you see user ID 1 has liked all three ABC, so we will not give any recommendation to this guy, right? We cannot give any recommendation because all the pages already liked by this guy, which are liked by his friends, right? So if we look at the output, so we have the output here as well. So if you see user ID 1 is not there in the output, so this is my expected output. Now let's go and check the second user. So if you see second user 2, right? He has one friend, friend ID 1. Now friend ID 1, if we check here, this guy has liked ABC all three. So we can again recommend ABC, but we need to check which pages are already liked by this guy. So if we look at the 2, 2 has liked page A, right? So he has not liked page B and C. So we can say that we can recommend page B and C to user 2, right? Let's look at the output. If you see to user 2, they recommend pages B and C both. Let's look at 3 and then we will move on to the solution. So for 3, if you see, there are two friends 1 and 4. Let's look at 1 and 4. So 1 has liked all three anyway, right? And 4 also liked B. So again we can recommend ABC, but user ID 3 has already liked B and C, right? If you see B and C, so we can recommend only A, right? So we can recommend only A and A, right? So I hope question is clear. Let's start solving it with the simplest method, simplest in terms of understanding, and then we will move to some advanced solutions. Okay, so there are two things we need. We need the pages liked by user and pages liked by that user's friend, right? So let's create first CTES, or let me write the query first. Let's get all the pages liked by the user, right? So select, let me write the tables first, from friends, right? Let's call it F, inner join likes L on F dot this one user ID equal to L dot this user ID, right? And this will give me F dot user ID comma L dot page ID. So this will give me that these users, right? These users have liked which pages, right? They are duplicates because there are multiple friend for each user. So we can just do distinct to get the unique page IDs. Okay, so this is giving me, let me do order by user ID, f dot user ID. Okay, so this is giving me ultimately that user ID 1 has liked page ABC that we saw, 2 has liked A, and so on, right? So I'll remove the order by for now because I will convert it to a CT with users pages, right? User pages as, and this is my first CT. And the second CT, what I will do, instead of pages liked by user, I will get pages liked by their friend. So I need to make a small change. Here, instead of saying f dot user ID, I will say f dot friend ID. Right? The join will be on friend. So whatever friend ID joining with the likes table, I will get the page ID. So L dot page ID will be fine. I will just get the f dot friend ID as well. Right? So let me run it. Okay. So this is giving me for user ID 1, there are 3 friends, 2, 3, 4. Now, out of those, 2 has liked page A, 3 has liked 2 pages B and C, right? And 4 has liked B. So we have kind of cross join. One user is getting joined multiple times because a friend can have multiple pages liked, right? So this is basically giving me that combination. Let me say comma friends pages as this. So we have two CTs now, right? In one CT, I have pages liked by each user, and in second CT, pages liked by that user's friend, right? Now, what I need to do, if you look at carefully, I need all these pages first, right? So I can say user ID 1, we can recommend ABC. But I need to separate out, I need to filter out those pages from this CT, right? So for example, if user 1 has liked page A, I don't want that, right? Which is present in this CT, right? So what I will do, this is my primary CT now because I need to recommend pages which are liked by friend. So I'll say select star from friends pages, right? Now what I will do, I will say left join, right? Let's call it FP and let's call it users pages as UP on. So I will join this user ID with this user ID, right? So I'll say FP dot user ID equal to UP dot user ID, right? This is the first join condition. Second, I will join on pages also, right? So I will say fp dot page id equal to up dot page id, right? So I'm doing a left join on user id and page id. Here the user id and page id is of friends page. Here the page id is of users page, right? So if I just run it and show you the results, so if you see the row which are joined, I don't want that rows because if you see his friends have these pages, right? ABC. Now when I join, these rows are joined, which means this user has already liked these pages 1A, 1B. That's why this join is happening, right? Wherever join is not happening, it means those pages are liked by this user's friend but not by himself, right? So all these null values I need in the output, right? These null, this will tell me these pages are liked by this user's friend but not by himself. Okay, so I'll just say where this is my up table, up dot, I can take user id or page id, anything. So I'll say user id is null, right? And it will give me the answer basically. Okay, so if I just run this is my answer. Let's verify with the output, but I will just keep whatever is required. So I need fp dot user id and I need page id, right? And fp dot page id, right? So that's it. Let's run it for the last time. Also, we might have duplicates, so let's do distinct as well. uh, okay, so let's do this. Okay, so we have 5 rows in total, right? User ID 3 4, we can recommend AA. For 2 we can recommend B, and for 2 we can recommend B and C. Let me do a order by again, just to have clarity. Order by FP dot user ID. One more time will run. Okay, so we can recommend 2 pages to user ID 2, to user ID 3. Let's validate with the output. So 2 B and C, 2 B and C, 3 A, and 4 A and C. A and C. So our output is correct. Okay, let's try to write a more compact query now, right? I hope the concept is same, right? I will use the same concept, but I will write a easier query, not to understand easier, but a smaller query. Okay, so what I will do now, I'll just not create any CTs, right? So I'll just directly take this. Let's call it solution 2. Okay, try to do it yourself. In the description box I will keep the insert and create statements. Okay, now what I have done, I have directly taken the page ID of their friends, right, which are liked by their friends. Now directly what I will do, I'll do a left join directly here instead of creating CTs separately, because friends table is same. We are using the same friends table both the places, right? So I can do a left join directly. So I'll just take this, right, and do this. Now what I will do here, I'll do, this is again likes table, right? Likes table. So let's call it, in our case we call the first table as UP, right? Sorry, FP. So let's call it FP, right? Friends page. And let's call it UP, right? So that we don't have to change the query. And let's call it FP dot user ID. And this will be my, yeah, that's it. So what I'm doing, I'm first doing a inner join. Then I'm saying again join with the likes table. This time join with fp dot user id equal to up dot user id, and fp dot page id equal to up dot page id. Yeah, yeah, we are doing the similar thing. So let me run this and show you so that it will be clear. So let me do star for now. Okay, so if you see here, okay, I think we need to make one change. We need to join with the f. So f dot user id equal to up dot user id, and fp dot page id equal to up dot page id. Yeah, now it is fine. Okay, so if you see, same thing we have done. Instead of doing ct, we joined with friends table in two different CTs. Here what we have done, we have first joined with the likes table on the friend id equal to user id, right, which is my first table here, right? This is what we have done, right? Now I am doing a left join, right, on the likes table and saying f dot user id equal to up dot user id, and fp dot page id equal to this. Okay, so it is the same thing I have done. I will just put a where condition now, where up dot page id is null, right? Same thing, nothing different. So we are getting the same result again. I can just take the two columns and do a distinct. We will get the same result. There are 6 rows. If I do distinct, there will be 5 rows. So I'll get the 5 rows, because if you see, this is the duplicate, right? 4, 4, and 2 times same page is coming for 4, 4, CC, right? So if I do distinct, there will be 4 rows in the output, right? So this is solution 2. You can make it little more simpler to understand in solution 3, right? So what I will do, I know it is little complex because there are multiple joins happening, but you can try it yourself, because what we are doing, the page id coming from this join is getting used in the join of next table, right? That's why it is little confusing. Okay, but to simplify it, what we can do, instead of a left join, we can do a not in condition. Okay, so let me take this again. Okay, and let me run this and show you something interesting. Okay, so now what I will do here, I will create a new column called concat, right? And I will say user id comma page id. Okay, so let me call it uh, concat columns or something. Okay, I'll just explain it. So let's call it f dot user id, and let's call it fp dot page id, right? So so for now we can recommend all these pages, right? I can recommend 2 page a, I can recommend user 3 page a, and again user 4 page a, right? But I need to now remove those pages which are liked by those users already. So I will say where this, right, not in. Now I'm doing not in on two columns, right? In some databases you don't have to do concat, you can directly do something like this in Postgres and all. But in SQL you cannot do, so you have to concat it. So I concated it, and now I will say remove those pages which are liked by these users, right? So I'll just take this query again in not in, right? Just wait, I'll just explain. Okay, not in, and I will say this join I have to do on f dot user id, right? Because I want users pages, right? And concat f dot user id comma fp dot page id, right? Or let's call it anything is fine, but the join is on user id now, right? So I will get, so if I just run this, okay, so I'm getting that user 1 uh, uh, has liked a, right? So let me do distinct and run it again, right? Okay, so I'm saying user 1 has liked a b c, 2 has liked a, 3 has liked b c, and 4 has liked b. Now I don't want this combination, I don't want from the first query. So if I just run this, you see I'm getting the right result. So let me just quickly take whatever is required. So I will say f dot user id comma fp dot page id. Let's remove everything and do a distinct or group by, anything is fine. Group by user id and page id, right? So if you see we have got the same 2 to bc, right? If I go back 2 to bc, 3a, 4ac, right? This question might be little confusing. Maybe I could have explained it more easily, but now I have recorded it. I hope you try yourself and get it clear. Okay, thanks for watching, have a good day.